Now, though, it's time for my first guest. Funny and grumpy aren't usually two words that go together, but this man has made an art of it. He is comedy royalty. It's Jack D. Please take a seat.
Oh,
Look at this lovely...
it's so lively for a Sunday night. Can you believe it?
I know.
Horrible.
Well, it's nice to see you when you're not nervous, because every time I see Jack is when we do Live at the Apollo or we're doing comedy gigs, and there's always like that, because I feel embarrassed because I get awful wind when I do it, so there's always... I've always got a smell about me.
I've noticed that.
Thank you. And it's nice to do a solid poo and have you on.
Well, I'll try to take that as a compliment.
You should.
Yeah,
it comes from a good place. Now, you write an act in the hit drama Lead Balloon.
Yes.
Your character is Rick Spleen. You're a writer and a comedian. You're grumpy and you're miserable and quite cynical and you live with your wife and kids. How do you come up with these characters?
It's quite a stretch for me, that character. I had to really dig deep to get there. Yeah, it's good. It's good fun doing that. I enjoy kind of, you can sort of bring out all the stuff that you don't. The good thing about doing a sitcom is you can do the comedy ideas that you can't really do as stand-up. No. And make it a bit more complex, and you can obviously flesh it out with you've got characters there to play with, and that's a lovely thing to do. Yeah.
I love Magda in it. You know, your Eastern European cleaner.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at you two in action.
Yeah, I read your letter that you're leaving.
Yes.
You're sure that's what you want to do?
I think it's best.
Okay, well, that's very sad. Just so you know, unhappy is spelt with an A, because it's unhappy, not unhippy. Unhippy.
I am unhappy.
Now, I think there's a little bit of sexual tension between you and Magda. Do you think so?
Yeah.
I was watching that thinking, get a room.
It could happen. I don't know. We're going for a fourth series, so maybe take it in that direction. I'll have to see what the wife says in that.
Now, I've got to ask you, you did Celebrity Big Brother for comic relief, and you escaped out the house, didn't you?
I did, yeah. That was, oh.
How did you escape from the Big Brother house? They've got cameras everywhere.
Well, do you know what? It wasn't that difficult because, I mean, apart from that, I wanted to get out because I was stuck in there with all those nutcases, like Vanessa Feltz and Anthea Turner cleaning everything. And Keith Duffy off Boyzone. He was nice. I liked him.
Yeah,
he was a laugh, actually. He really did forget that the cameras were there, and he'd be forever saying, "I can sing and I can dance." And he'd take me aside and say, "Jack, I'm hoping to get some work out of this. Do you think it'll happen? I want to get some presenting work out of it." That's really, I don't care so much about the charity thing. I want to get some... Yeah, Keith, it's on television. And so, I got, Vanessa flipped out and started writing poetry all over the walls. I thought, I've got to get out of here. I've had enough of this. And I just started digging. In the backyard, there was a door, and I thought I could burrow under, I could dig under. And so I spent about an hour trying to dig under. Everyone else was asleep by then. I was digging away, and then I sort of leant on the door, and it just opened. And I was out. They hadn't locked the door, and it was about 2 in the morning, and I just scarpered. I ran off, and it's the place was in the middle of a kind of construction site, so I was just legging it. I felt like Steve McQueen or someone. And I was running across all these mud flats, and I ended up going over this massive high gate, which I climbed and got over. And I was wandering around, and I asked this passerby, I said, "Can you tell me where I am?" And of course he said, and no, please just tell me where I am. I called my agent, tried to reverse a charge, he wouldn't accept it. That was nice, wasn't it? And I found out I was actually in Stratford East, and I had a look around. I thought, I'm going to go back to the Big Brother house. This is horrible. Yeah, it was. So I just wandered back because I didn't know where to go. I didn't need money. I didn't know where I was. It was the middle of the night, a bit hungover, and I went back in.
I mean, do you still get nervous when you do all the stand-up?
Well, yeah, I do, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to be a bit nervous for it to work. But in the early days, it's never been as bad as it used to be in the early days because your stomach goes, doesn't it? And I remember doing a gig in Canada at the Montreal Festival. It was a really huge deal. And so 3,500 people in the theatre, and it was live, going out all over Canada. And I went out on stage, and I realised when I came off, someone said, "Oh, that was really interesting. You just stood there and just stood rooted to the spot." And what had happened is I'd come out and I had my hands in my pockets, and I tried to take them out to get the microphone out of the stand, and I literally just couldn't move my arms. They'd just gone, so I did the whole gig like this. And I was thinking ahead, I hope I don't have to take my hands out for anything in this act or not, because I just couldn't get my hands out of my pockets. But you do, it does weird things to you like that.
Yeah.
You know, you just go to jelly.
Good job you hadn't incorporated any mime.
No, quite. I wasn't signing it all the way through.
Thinking that, I remember one gig I did, and you know those, it's up in Manchester, they've got one of those handheld mics. And it's quite cool up there for Manchester, like, oh, look, no wire, you know, Bentleys.
Yeah, they're usually chained on, aren't they?
Yeah. And I started picking up taxi rank. Bus stop, Bravo, Alpha, are you there? Yeah. I'm being heckled by Alpha cabs.
I suppose about 16 years ago or something like that, I was up in Edinburgh Festival, and my agent said, will you come and do a gig at Perth Prison? I said, well, what do I want to do that for? And they said, oh, it's because it's, you know, cheer the inmates up. I said, well, what do I want to do that for? So we went along to Perth Prison, and it's maximum security, this place. A whole load of us went along. And I was talking to the warden, you know, said, so what are the sort of people in here, what are they just, you know, car thieves and that, is it? He said, and he said, no, they said, your audience today, they're all, he called them re-murderers. I said, what do you mean a re-murderer? He said, they've murdered, they've done life, they've gone out again and they've re-murdered. Yeah. So, OK. So I went in to do this gig, and you can't relate to an audience. It was just in a chapel with strip lighting on the roof, and you can't relate to people who live in a prison. You know, anything you say is going to go wrong. And so you start a joke.
What do you do for a living? Murder.
Yeah. And you make that mistake. So you say, where you from? Oh, sorry. Yeah. And you know, where do you live? Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. And I start a joke with, anyway, I was on a bus the other day, and someone goes, lucky you. Yeah. It was horrible.
So hard. Broadmoor, scream.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Broadmoor? They start heckling themselves. Shut up, you can piss off. I know. Our styles are quite different. You're like grumpy, you know, and a bit...
I've always thought you've sort of taken after me a bit, haven't you? And you sort of... Have I influenced you a bit?
Yeah, you're a big influence on my camp, upbeat disposition.
Yeah. I
saw you and I thought, Jack D, I want to be him.
First time I saw you, I said, he's nicked my act.
Yeah. But do you think it'd be funny if we did some jokes in each other's style?
That's an interesting idea. We could...
I think that'd be good. Take a joke out there and read it as me.
As you? OK.
Well, I'm going to copy your style.
Go on, then.
Have you heard about the new Oasis soup? You get a roll with it.
That good?
That's not bad, is it? Can I have your glasses?
Oh. Do you want the teeth as well?
Yeah.
Ian, no, shut up, yeah.
I can't see. Is he taking the piss? I can't see. What's he doing?
Yeah.
Who's that? Who is it?
Listen to this. He's a funny joke, warrior.
Oh, I've got a bloody headache now.
What's E.T. short for? Because he's only got little legs.
That was cruel. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute joy. Jack D, everyone.